Alright, what's up Cosmonauts? It's your boy Cosmo, and happy Sunday, guys. Hopefully you guys are having a great start to your Sunday so far. And I told you guys I was gonna be back tomorrow with a different game. For those that weren't here yesterday, I finally completed Dark Deception after taking a kind of a year hiatus from that game, because I forgot how stressful it was. And I finally defeated Mama Bear, especially the boss battle of Mama Bear. I finally got past that part. Now I just gotta wait for Chapter 5 of Dark Deception to come out, and Lord only knows when that's gonna be released. But as you guys can tell from the title, it is true. I am home alone, which I did say yesterday. I am gonna be home alone for 4 days until Tuesday. Well, I got 3 more days. So your boy has the house all to himself. I'm currently looking after both of my dogs for my mom and my grandma because they went to a baby shower for my uncle on my mom's side. And unfortunately, I couldn't go because if I were to go, then we won't have anybody else to look after both of the dogs, including my cat. So that's why I had to stay. Which, good for my uncle. It's funny because I recently just became an uncle. So I became an uncle before my own uncle has kids of his own. You would think it would start off the other way around. If I had to guess, I think my uncle from my mom's side, he has to be in his 40s right now. So he's a millennial. Which means I'm officially gonna have new cousins coming from my uncle. Oh, God damn it. They fucking cornered me. Alright, hopefully you guys can hear me okay, and hopefully the game isn't too loud for you guys. If you guys see me constantly looking down or over my shoulder, I'm just keeping an eye on both of my cat and my dogs. That way I know where they at. Oh, God damn it. That's what I get for not paying attention. Considering I have the house all to myself, I'm gonna be doing the things that I've always wanted to do, and it's not what you guys think. It's not having friends over, throwing parties, and all that shit. No, no, I'm an introvert. About a year ago, I went to El Paso with my mom and my grandma. And I had the choice of either staying with both of my dogs. I didn't have my cat at the time. Or have my sister-in-law look after both dogs. But because I was going through a hard time with my ex coworker, that is, not ex boyfriend. I decided to go with my mom and my grandma to El Paso to visit my mom's side of the family, because I knew if I would stay, I would be in my thoughts about my ex coworker. Because when you're by yourself, it's easy to get lost in your thoughts. So I thought that me going would be a good distraction from my ex coworker. And what I mean by doing the things that I've always wanted to do is that I told myself that the next time I was gonna be home alone, I would buy myself frozen pizza, because I haven't had frozen pizza in a fucking hot minute. It was something that both of my parents, before they got divorced, that they would buy my brother and I frozen pizza. We didn't have a lot growing up, but it was nothing but good times. What's up, cousin? I'm doing good. How about you? God damn it. And another thing I've always wanted to do, now that I'm home alone, is go for a swim in my own pool. Just me, myself. That's kind of hard to do when with my mom and my grandma being here, because I want to be able to enjoy the pool by myself. You know what I mean? Let's see. What's another thing I've always wanted to do now that I'm home alone? I would say watch TV in the living room, but we don't have I don't have a TV in my living room. Not since about a year ago. I don't know. There's something about watching TV in the living room that's completely different from watching it in your own room. It gives you that that simulation that you're watching that you're at the movie theaters. You know what I mean? It's a whole different experience than watching TV in your own bedroom. Okay, I'm doing good as well. A year and a half of good work, and I moved to Colorado. It's my dream to move over there, and I love snow. Hee hee. Right now, I live in New Mexico, and it is hot, and I don't like it. So I'm gonna move to Colorado. Good for you, cousin. I'm definitely gonna miss you. Yeah, this is a very different experience. I bet it is. Hey Twilight, how are you? promise to visit now that I'm closer. Don't worry. I hope one day. Look at this goofy emoji. It's a cute little doggy. Does anybody here say goofy ass or goofy I'm just curious. I don't know. I see memes about goofy ass or goofy all over Instagram and TikTok. Okay, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. LOL. I do both, Lamel, but saying goofy is funny. Yeah, I think saying goofy seems funnier than saying goofy ass. Not just because it's cleaner than saying ass. But I think the whole point of saying goofy in my opinion, is probably rage bait. You would expect someone to say goofy ass. I wouldn't be surprised if saying goofy was intended for rage bait. It is. If that's the case, then I'm not even surprised. You wanna know who's the king of rage bait? Patrick Star from SpongeBob. Him and the shit that he says on SpongeBob. Definitely rage bait. Fuck. SpongeBob has his moments too of rage bait. But for sure it's Patrick. Is mayonnaise an instrument? Horseradish is not an instrument too. Patrick, say that again. That again. No, the thing before that. No, what you said before. Never mind, I got an idea. Never mind, I got an idea. Never ever for never ever ever? Never ever, never ever, forever, never, 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 ever, ever. Freaking Patrick. They even made a TV show for him. I don't know if anybody saw on Instagram, but there's this rumor saying how SpongeBob fans believe that Patrick Star is not going to be in the SpongeBob SquarePants show anymore. When did you start watching? When did you start watching Cosmo? When I first heard about that rumor of Patrick leaving SpongeBob, I just took it with a grain of salt. Because not everything you see on social media is true, because of misinformation and all that shit. But it got me thinking. I can understand why people would think that Patrick is leaving SpongeBob. And it's not just because Patrick has his own show, but it got me thinking. That kind of reminds me of Family Guy, where Cleveland has his own show, and for whatever reason, Cleveland wasn't in Family Guy. That's what that kind of reminded me of. And I think Nickelodeon confirmed that Patrick isn't gonna leave SpongeBob by them replying just the word no. No, as in no, Patrick is not gonna leave SpongeBob. So life lesson. Don't believe everything you see on social media. And especially whatever you do, don't use social media as a source of news. That's why I never used Instagram or TikTok for news. Chivas de Guara de la Jara is my cousin, Twilight. He actually started watching me. Oof, I wanna say 2019. Time goes by so fast. Yes, he's a cousin of mine. Yes, definitely don't listen to Fox News. Oh fuck. Yeah, my cousin has been watching my YouTube channel for the last 7 years. It's crazy because besides my cousin and his brother, who is also a cousin of mine, they're literally the only ones in my family who know about my YouTube channel. Nobody else in my family knows about my YouTube channel. It's a long story. Because I do want to be a full-time YouTuber at some point. And to make a long story short, I told my parents about 11 years ago when I graduated high school that I wanted to be a YouTuber at some point. And unfortunately, they weren't as supportive about it as I was expecting them to be. Because since they're Gen X's, it's easy for them to dismiss a dream like that as unrealistic, or that I have to get a 9 to 5 job or go to college. Old school fuddy duddies. They can be. I love my parents, but I disagree with them with a lot of stuff. So I just kept my YouTube channel secret from the rest of my family, excluding my 2 cousins that I mentioned. I turn around for a second and I already die. I can understand because the internet was about 30 years old. It seems almost too good to be true that you can make money from your own room. Nah, it's not too good to be true to make money from home. It is a real thing. Because I do work from home. And I'm my own boss, so I don't have a manager or coworkers to deal with when I work. With today's technology, it's easy to make money online or from home. But my parents, they just don't understand the concept of making money from YouTube and social media just because they didn't have opportunities like that. So it'd be easy for them to dismiss it as unrealistic. Oh, okay. I don't know how I went through Inky, the blue one, or the turquoise one. I thought I was gonna die, but somehow I survived. I worded it better? No, it's just that I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've, you know, it's... I know what I'm talking about through experience. I don't like the whole idea of being told what to do. You know what I mean? Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, or you should do this, you should do that. I just don't like old school society or traditional values, you know what I mean? I don't like having a regular 9 to 5 job and going to college and all that stupid shit. No, I'm sorry to rant, but that's so old school, you know what I mean? I want to do things for me, not because other people tell me that I should. And I was just having thoughts like this earlier this morning. I want to do things for me, not because other people expect me to. And as much as I love my parents, I don't agree with them on everything. And regardless if they support me doing YouTube or social media, I'm still gonna do it. Because I'm a grown adult. I'm 28, going on 29. So I'm not gonna let them tell me what I should do with my future. And if they can't accept it, then that's not my problem. That's theirs. I know it's harsh to say, but it's true. You know, I've always been that type of person, to be honest with you. I've always been the type to, you know, do my own thing and not do things just because other people are doing it. I guess you can say I'm a non-conformist. What that means is that you choose to live your life how you want to, regardless if people question you or judge you or make fun of you or, you know, bully you for living a certain way, thinking a certain way, or saying certain things. In other words, I'm not a people pleaser. In other words, I prefer authenticity over conformity. That means I rather do things because I want to do it, not because other people tell me to or they expect me to. And if people don't like how I live a certain way or do certain things, then that's not my problem. This is honesty hour right here. Because, you know, why spend the rest of your life pleasing people when you can just be your true authentic self? I think life is way too short to be, you know, achieving certain things or following certain milestones just because other people do it. You know, I just hate that we live in a society where you have to feel valued in order to, you know, get married, be in a relationship, have kids, or get a house at a certain age. But me, nah. How I see it is this: everyone has different timelines. And just because everybody expects you to, you know, move out at the age of 18, be married at 22, or getting your first house at 25, just because society expects you to do all that stuff, doesn't mean you have to do that. And it's not a race. It's not a popularity contest. Speaking from experience, I'm 28, almost 29, and I've never been in a relationship. Now, yeah, I have felt bad about that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. But if I wanted to date somebody, if I want to date, I'd rather do it because I want to. Not because my parents ask me, oh, Cosmo, when are you gonna get married or have a husband? You know, I don't want to do that stuff out of pressure. I'd rather do that for my own reasons. And the same with having kids. 28 years old and I don't have kids of my own, and I don't want any kids. As a matter of fact, I'm an uncle as we speak. And as a matter of fact, I see so many people my age in relationships, marriages, and having kids of their own. And, you know, just because they have that stuff doesn't mean I have to do that, or that I should. the moral of the story, or the moral of this rant is that live life how you want to do it. Just live life for yourself. Life is way too short to please everybody, regardless of who it is, friends, family. It really doesn't matter. I know I already talked about relationships, but this leads into marriage. I've never been married, and I don't ever want to be married. I see marriage as an optional thing. This is just my opinion. I do think that you can have commitment without marriage. For instance, my parents, they've been together for 31 years. Not once have they married. And ever since I can remember, my mom has always kept her regular last name. She's never had the same last name as me, my brother, or my dad. They were together for 31 years, and not once have they married. So that's living proof that you can have a long-term relationship without marriage. And I'm pretty sure there are some marriages that only lasted far less time than my parents' 31-year relationship. So I'm not saying that I will have a boyfriend, but if I ever do, then he and I aren't getting married. I'd rather just live with him, and I'd rather just live with him. You know, kind of like what my parents used to do. They live with each other, but they're not physically married. But they'll still refer to each other as spouses, you know what I mean? Thank you, cousin. I appreciate you. Motherfuckers. Oh, I thought I was gonna get hit right there. As I said before, life is way too short to not live how you want to. I mean, the only kid that I have is my cat, Domino. To me, Domino isn't just a cat. I don't see him as a pet. I see him as my own son. Because considering that I'm gay, obviously I can't conceive anybody. I can't impregnate anybody. family, so I can have a kid of my own from my own sperm. So that's why I see my cat as my own son. Oh, I forgot how good you are at this game. Yeah, I've been playing this game since I was 4 years old. I'm 28, but I'll be 29 in September. Wait, what? I still remember to give you a second quarter once you're 50. Oh yeah, you did give me a quarter for my 25th. I remember that. Can't believe that was 3 years ago. Fuck. Okay, I guess they didn't want to capture me then. COVID made time go by like this. That's good that you let it take your ship because it gives you two when you get it back. It's smart. Yeah, that's why I purposely get captured so I can have two fighters at once. Been doing that ever since I was 4 years old. Alright, I know we just talked about, I know I just talked about relationships earlier, but if you're wondering what the beginning of the title means, Get y'all's snacks ready, because I do have an interesting story regarding a certain somebody. Alright, here's how it went down. About I want to say about 3 weeks ago, I had a dream about a certain somebody, and even though the title says what it says, it's not exactly what you think. I won't lie to you. It was clickbait. I clickbaited y'all. I just thought I'd share it, just in case if anybody was curious. Alright, when I say ex, dreaming about my ex, I'm talking about ex-coworker, not an ex-boyfriend of mine. So the whole point of that was to, it was for clickbait. But anyways, about 3 weeks ago, I had a dream about this coworker of mine who I had a crush on for about, yeah, thanks, W clickbait. Alright, about 3 weeks ago, I had a dream about a guy who I used to have a crush on for the last 6 years, probably a little bit before COVID had started. Yeah, probably a little bit before COVID had started. It was February of 2020. I'm gonna give you guys the long version about this guy who I used to have a crush on. And I'll say his name because I don't care. He and I aren't friends anymore. Pretty sure he still watches my YouTube videos and is subscribed, but I don't really care if he sees this. Okay, it was late February 2020. I just got promoted as a personal grocery shopper at my Walmart. I used to work at Walmart, for those that don't know. But if you've been around in my channel for long enough, you probably remember my Walmart days. Alright, I just got promoted as a personal grocery shopper at my local Walmart about 6+ years ago. Mind you, in that department, there was nothing but mostly females in there. Mostly women, and besides me, this guy that I had a crush on, Noah, that's his name. Noah was the only guy at that department, except for me. So kind of the reason as to why I had a crush on him. That's number one. Number two, he is a nerd just like I am. I do have a thing for nerds. Let's just say I love nerds a little too much. He does like video games. He is a bit of a SpongeBob fanatic. I've heard him quote SpongeBob lines from SpongeBob episodes. At that time, I was all, oh, yes, please, please marry me one day. But most importantly, the main thing that attracted to me about him, not just because he was a nerd and I found him attractive, but I liked his personality. He had the personality of SpongeBob, where he's always happy, very positive, always in a good mood, laughing. You know, I really like that optimism. I really liked his positive outlook on life. And he is white, by the way. Considering I live in Phoenix, Arizona, he's not Latino. He is white, so I do love me a white boy. But the only thing was that he's one of those gay guys who doesn't seem or act like he's gay. He's one of those masculine gay types. So at the time, I wasn't sure if he was gay or not, because he doesn't dress like he's gay. He didn't act like he was. And you know, he doesn't dress just like I do, so it was hard for me to tell if he was straight, bisexual, or gay. And I was too afraid to take the risk of asking him out. You know, because the last thing I want to do is to be flirting with a straight guy.
Blast off!
And not only that, but you know, deep down, I was afraid that if I were to flirt with a straight guy, he'd be one of those homophobic straight men. I'm not saying all straight men are homophobic, by the way. I'm just saying it's a minority of those straight men. You know, I just figured he'd be one of those, oh, no homo type of guys. I hate those type of straight men. And that would be awkward for me to handle, especially at work, where I would see him almost every single day. You know, that would just be very awkward. Yes, I thought he would be one of those guys who would hide their gayness. So then 3 months go by. My crush on him was getting stronger. My feelings for him were getting stronger. Because he and we were getting along as friends. Probably very, very fast, as a matter of fact. Just because he and I were the only men at that department. I mean, there were other male associates at that department. One of them was the manager. The other one was another older associate, but they're hardly ever around. So to him, it kind of felt like he was the only guy there. I'm sure he could have used another guy his age to talk about video games with and to get away from that female drama. So 3 months after I worked at that job, me, Noah, and a couple of my other ex-coworkers, they were females, by the way. All four of us were gonna go to some type of Korean or Hawaiian barbecue restaurant. I don't remember which one it was. It was one of them, Korean barbecue or Hawaiian barbecue. But because COVID had happened, a lot of places were still closed around that time. So we all made the last minute decision to go to a Denny's. I did sit next to Noah, by the way. Well, all four of us were in one of my former coworkers' car. I did sit next to Noah in the back seat, and when we were all sitting down at one table, I did sit next to him. And I won't lie, I was kind of getting the feels. Then again, I was still kind of nervous about asking him out. But we ended up adding each other on Snapchat. So then months go by, he and I being friends, working together, still wondering if he's gay. And then around June 2021, I actually had left that job because COVID made that job very miserable for me, and I was going through a mental health breakdown, that was 5 years ago, actually. And unfortunately, not once have I ever got to ask him out. But it's okay, because he and I still maintain our friendship through Snapchat, but we just didn't see each other anymore as much. So Snapchat was our only main source of communication instead of work. And then 3 years later, in October 2024, I saw a Snapchat story of him kissing another boy, and you best believe I was very devastated, heartbroken, and I was very emotional. That did make me feel like I missed my chance to ask him out, just because he looks a certain way or acts a certain way. But a year before I came across that Snapchat story of his, I did see that same guy in Noah's Snapchat stories. But at first I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he was a friend or something. But it just wasn't until Noah kissed that other boy he was with, who was his boyfriend. And I'm like, no! I missed my opportunity. So yes, I was hurt. I was upset because that should have been me with Noah, not his hoe ass boyfriend is. And that's not even the worst part about his boyfriend. The worst part is that I do recognize Noah's boyfriend from somewhere. I was gonna buy a gift card from Walmart, and when I was about to check out buying that gift card, that same guy who was Noah's boyfriend did happen to ring me up at the cash register. But this happened no, I want to say 2 years before I found out that same guy is Noah's boyfriend. As he was ringing me up, the boyfriend of his was taking a bit longer than I expected to ring me up and let me pay for my gift card. Pretty sure he was new. To me, it seemed like he didn't know what he was doing, trying to register the gift card for me so that way I can pay for it. And because I mean, it doesn't take a whole minute to register a gift card. But then after I paid and everything, I didn't really think anything of it. I just gave him the benefit of the doubt because he was quite young. Probably a couple years younger than me. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, you know what? In my mind, I was like, you know what? Maybe he's just new. So I'm not going to be mad at him for that. Because I remember being in his spot of being new at a workplace. So I wasn't going to be a Karen about it. At least not yet. It wasn't until I got home when I found out that the gift card that I purchased was not registered and there wasn't a balance on it. And I know I put money. I know I paid money for it. So I go back to my Walmart. Luckily, I remember his name. So I I go to customer service to complain about it. And to complain about the cashier who ringed me up and didn't register the card for me. Luckily, I got my money back. But ever since then, I don't think I've ever saw Noah's boyfriend work there. Either he quit or he got fired. I want to say he got fired because of that, because I haven't seen him around. That whole gift card situation happened in October 2022. So this took place 2 years before I found out that cashier that ringed me up was Noah's boyfriend, but I didn't know at the time. I mean, what are the odds of that? But anyways, back to the Noah story. Now let's go back to October 2024. After I had established that Noah had a boyfriend, which was the cashier who didn't know what he was doing his fucking job. I immediately confessed my feelings to him. Which, now that I think about it, I probably shouldn't have done that. Because it was quite impulsive for me to do, and luckily I'm usually not that type of person to do impulsive things. But I only did it just to get it off my chest, as I've held that crush in for nearly 5 years at that time. Right now, it's been 6 years since I had a crush on him. And it wasn't just, oh, hey, Noah, there's something I gotta tell you. I have a crush on you, and then that's it. No. Let's just say I typed in 2 long paragraphs regarding my feelings for him, why I found him attractive, what I liked about him, and why I didn't tell him almost 5 years ago at that time. He saw the message. He saw the messages. I know for a fact he saw them, but he left me on red. So I was more upset by him leaving me on red than me finding out he had a boyfriend. So I gave him a 6 month break of no contact. But during that 6 month break of no contact from October 2024 to April 2025, for some reason he was still seeing my Snapchat stories. And he stalked my TikTok profile 3 times. Now I'll admit, I stalked his TikTok profile once. Just once, and that was it. But, you know, for him to ignore my messages and then still stalk me on social media, I don't really like that shit. I found it to be very disrespectful. And then when I do try and message him, he ignores my messages, or he just leaves them on red. So around April 2025, I message him, you know, hey, how's it, you know, how you been doing ever since, you know, what I said about you. You know, if you want to talk, we can talk. And I noticed that you were seeing my social medias, and yet you're not talking to me.
Lost all. Alive, alive.
I messaged this to him on TikTok, by the way, not on Snapchat.
Alive, alive. Alive, alive.
Since he still ignored me, this is when I really let him have it. I wasn't gonna do it, but I just had to confront him about it. I told him, you know what, dude? I don't appreciate you seeing my messages and reading them and not responding, considering that I know that you can see them, and I can tell when you know, I can see that he's online on social media. When you're on social media, it will show the little green dot indicating that you are online. So I know for a fact he saw the messages.
Alive, alive.
Or either that, or he's kind of seeing it through the notification bar. You know how it shows the little preview of social media messages or text messages? Where you can kind of see a preview of what someone typed without physically reading it? He's either doing that, or he's actually leaving me on red through TikTok, because TikTok doesn't let you know if someone read your DMs or vice versa. So he's probably doing it through the notifications thing, just to make it seem like he's not seeing the messages. And then when I confront him about him ignoring my messages and seeing my Snapchat stories and stalking my TikTok about 3 times, he had the audacity to block me on TikTok and Snapchat. And mind you, this wasn't about me trying to convince him to be with me rather than his boyfriend. This was about me getting closure as to why he kept avoiding me, and that if he has something to say, why can't you just tell me? And the same goes with my confession for him. It wasn't about me trying to force him to be with me instead of his boyfriend. That was just me confessing my love for him and getting it off of my chest. Especially after finding out that he was gay this whole time. And if I knew if I kept it holding it in any longer, it wouldn't be healthy. Yeah, definitely, he's definitely a rat that hides. He could have just told me, yeah, Cosmo, I do appreciate these feelings that you have for me, and I'm flattered, but please at least respect the fact that I am already committed in another relationship and that we can still be friends. That's all he could have said. He could have just told me that. And to be honest, I thought that would be the end of that. That's not the end of the story. There's still more. There's still more. So let's fast forward to July 2025. I do notice that there was one social media platform that he didn't block me on, which was Discord. I don't know, I guess it's because he's in a relationship. He doesn't play video games as much. So he must have forgot that he had Discord, or he didn't use it as much. So I did find it weird how he blocks me on Snapchat and TikTok, but not on Discord. Yeah, there's still more. It doesn't end there. There's still more. But instead of messaging him straight away, I decided to give it a month. From July to August 2025, just to see if he himself would reach out. That way, I'm not always the one doing the reaching out. I message him one last time, or actually the second to last time. I say to him, "Hey, before you block me, I'm sorry that I got mad at you, but at the same time, if you really have something to say, you can tell me right now. Got something to say. I'm giving you one last chance because I still care about you as a friend. We can at least talk about this. We don't have to keep playing games and avoiding each other all the time." And that if you need to talk, then I'm here. But I don't know if he saw my messages, because I don't think Discord lets you know if someone reads your DMs. And still radio silence from him. And I did see that he set his status to invisible on Discord. Because I still remember his off days from work, and the days that he goes on Discord. So he must have hid his status and set it to invisible just to make it seem like he's not online every time I'm online. So it got me thinking, yep, he's still avoiding me. Yeah, I think he knew exactly what he's doing. Alright, now let's go to September 2025. Fun fact, his birthday is the same month as mine, which is September. He's September, yes, the popcorn game. But anyways, my birthday is September 12th, his is the 18th, so he and I are in fact Virgos. Another reason as to why I had a crush on him. He and I have the same zodiac signs. But he sure as hell doesn't act like he's a Virgo, considering he is a very happy-go-lucky person, and Virgos are meant to be very intellectual and kind of almost very serious people. At least in my experience. Could have sworn he was a Libra or something, but nope, he's literally a Virgo, which definitely surprised me. But anyways, his birthday came around in September. I gave him one last chance for us to bury the hatchet. I buy him a digital gift card of $75 from GameStop, because he does like video games. Not just as a birthday gift, but as a peace offering, a way of me to say sorry for, you know, just to say sorry on my end if the confrontation and the conflict between him and I is making him uncomfortable. I send him the digital gift card through Discord DMs, and I say my apologies if the conflict is really making him that uncomfortable. And not once has he said thank you or apology accepted. Yep, not a single thank you or apology accepted. Now I didn't want to do this, but I had to block him on Discord. I had to do it. I really didn't want to, just because, you know, I still cared about him as a friend, and I really wanted to. I just wanted to put all that shit between us. And luckily, he didn't use the gift card. Luckily, he didn't use it, so because he didn't say thank you or accepted my apology, I had to use the gift card before he did. So it wouldn't make it seem as if I just wasted my money. Now you would think that it ends here. No, there's still more. there's still more to this story. Just when I thought that would be the end of his and our friendship, or anything with Noah in general. Yes, I did use it, just like I mentioned earlier. After all that, he doesn't deserve it. I spent it on a Switch game. I think it was called Dead by Daylight, because one of my OG subscribers, Braden McConnell, recommended that I play that game in a future video. I did buy me a gaming headset with a microphone and a couple of plushies. One of them was a Super Mario question block. Yeah, I wasn't gonna let that gift card go to waste. Now let's go all the way to April 2026, around Easter time. So that was almost 3 months ago. So 3 months ago, I went to my local Walmart to do some household shopping, as that's where my mom and I do our grocery and personal and household shopping. I needed a couple of things for myself, and of course it was Easter, so I wanted to treat myself to Easter chocolate. I go to the Easter aisle to pick up chocolates for myself, and who do and and what do you know? I see somebody walking past me. I'm walking like this, and somebody was walking like this. Who do I see? It's Noah. It was Noah. Mm-hmm. Haven't seen that fucker in person about 5 years, and that was the first time that I saw him since the conflict between him and I in October 2024. Yeah, believe it or not, he and I walked past each other. And the fucked up part is that he didn't even bother saying hi, or he didn't wave, or he didn't do a head nod. Nothing. He didn't acknowledge my existence. But at the same time, I wasn't gonna do that. I wasn't gonna say hi or get his attention because I was always the one getting his attention. So I was like, you know what? Nah. I'm always the one reaching out to him. So let's see if he does it. And I know for a fact he recognizes me. Because every time I go to my local Walmart to do my shopping, I am usually recognized by former customers and employees. Yeah, there were a couple of customers and employees from my Walmart who do recognize me. So if they recognize me, there's no way he wouldn't have. And he looks a lot different than when I saw him last in person about 5 years ago. So not only is he ignoring me in person, or on social media, but he's ignoring me in person as well. Yeah, deep down he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think deep down he does regret what he's doing. But he's being a chicken shit by avoiding me all the time. Oh, and I forgot to mention, December 2025, I've established that Noah and his boyfriend are engaged. They're apparently fiancés now. Now you would think this would get me upset just because I wanted a future with Noah, but believe it or not, no, I was not upset when I found out about it. But it did make me think that I did miss an opportunity to have something special with him. But just like what we were talking about earlier, about marriage and relationships and kids and all that, as I said before, if I wanted a long-term relationship, I never want a traditional marriage. I would have wanted something my parents used to have, where they would live together, but they wouldn't have a wedding or anything like that. They would just move in with each other, be together, and then call it a day, and that's it. But they can still refer to each other as husband and wife, and that's what I wanted with Noah and I. I would have told him, you know what, babe, it's okay. We don't have to get married, okay? If people question us as to why we're not getting married, then I'll be the one to defend that. Because I had parents who were together for 31 years and not once have they married. I was actually relieved to find out he was engaged to his boyfriend. Because like I said, I never wanted a traditional marriage to begin with. And if he were to propose to me, I know for sure I would have said no. And I'm pretty sure that's gonna break I'm sure that would have broken his heart. So, and it got me thinking, even if he and I did date, that relationship wouldn't have lasted very long. I assume he wants kids too. I don't know for sure if he wants kids, but I just assumed that he would. But regardless if he wants kids or not, I couldn't do that to somebody. I would never be with somebody if they want a marriage, but all I want is to remain unmarried, but still live with each other. I would never do that to somebody. He and I did walk past each other, not once, but twice. This was on 2 separate days, and not a single peep or a word or a hello, how are you, nothing like that. Alright, now that the whole story about Noah and I is out of the way, now we can go into the dream part. I did have a dream about Noah, and in my dream, it was the same encounter that I had about he and I walking past each other in the Easter aisle. But the only difference is that this dream of mine, of he and I walking past each other without saying a word, it took place in a different department. In my dream, he and I walked past each other without saying a word to one another, but at the toys department. It wasn't in the Easter aisle this time. In my dream, it happened in the toys department. And I was doing research on a dream like that, and you know why did in my dream why did it take place in a different department, but at the same establishment of Walmart? Which is pretty odd. Apparently, spring during Easter represents rebirth and new beginnings. And I guess me encountering him in person, I think that's a way of me reclaiming my power. What I mean is that on social media, I would always try and get his attention and message him just to get closure from him. But him ignoring me in person, that was the closure right there. And that it's not a reflection of my worth. His avoidance, it's actually a reflection of him. What I mean by that is that him ghosting me or ignoring me goes to show how he truly feels about me as an individual. And that whenever there's conflict, he'd much rather take the easy way out and ghost people instead of dealing with the conflict like a grown adult should. And that he never was a true friend to begin with. He and I, we were just friendly coworkers, and because we don't see each other as much, he didn't really see me as a friend. Just the same way as I did. And as for the toys department, in my dream, the toys department, I think it's supposed to represent nostalgia, and yeah, I think it's supposed to represent nostalgia. What I mean by that is that because he and I had a very long 5-year friendship, that friendship that he and I had took place in the past. Along with my feelings for him, and also Noah as a person. So because I don't see him as often, he's apparently a ghost in my life, especially from the past. Not a person in my present. And I think that dream was supposed to tell me that the past should stay in the past. And the toys department in my dream was supposed to represent fun times and innocence, because his and my friendship, yes, it started on good terms, and it may have looked like it was going to be it may have looked like a true friendship in the past, but if you really, really think about it, given the conflict that we have, it wasn't a genuine friendship, because I was always the one putting in the emotional labor during our conflict. And ever since that dream, I haven't seen him in person at all. So I guess the universe is doing me a favor by not letting me see him. And yes, it was uncomfortable to see him in person for the first time ever since the conflict. But I guess it had to happen for a reason. And also another thing, to anybody who's LGBT, I've identified myself as a top now. When I met Noah, I guess you can say I identified as a verse, as I didn't really had a label for myself, and I didn't really have a specific type in terms of men who are bottoms, men who are tops. So I just identified myself in the middle as a verse. I did see a Snapchat story of him and his fiance, where his fiance was doing some type of pose for an Instagram picture. That's a bit inappropriate for me to say on. It's a bit inappropriate for me to describe it, but I guess they were doing a pose as if they were about to do a doggy style sex. Where his fiance was bottom and Noah was top. And that's another thing. Even if he and I had much in common, Noah and I don't think that relationship would have lasted really long. Because two tops aren't very compatible. At least not sex-wise. No. That'd be like two straight men having sex. It just wouldn't work out. But no, two tops, it's not gonna work. So I actually feel better knowing that he is engaged, considering that I don't want a traditional marriage, and that he is a top. And me identifying myself as a top. And for some odd reason, all of May last month, I wasn't even feeling upset about him. ever since the month of May, I've been feeling content about my encounterment of seeing Noah in person. I do think things do happen for a reason. Maybe the universe was doing me a favor by saving me the heartbreak of dating somebody who wasn't compatible with me. So the next time I do my shopping at that same Walmart, I no longer have to be afraid of seeing Noah again. As a matter of fact, I don't even care if he sees me anymore. I mean, I'm not gonna hide or change my, my route whenever I'm doing my shopping just to hide from him. Because how I see it is this. Since he's avoiding me on social media and in person, I just hope that him seeing me reminds him of his avoidance of, I just hope that him seeing me helps him to remind him of that, the conflict between us. Because if I emotionally suffered, then in a way I kind of want him to, just so he can at least understand how I felt over the past year and a half. Oh shit. Me, I'm pansexual. Well, at least you move on from the conflict, yeah. Wrong time, but it's gonna be May. Remember that joke? You still have heart in you, and it's your choice to do so. It's okay. Oh, that's true, especially if he's a coworker. Oh, that's fucking wild. And I better hurry up before I die. I'm dead. God damn it. This is a fucking never-ending story. No, it's over now. Who, my birthday? I'm 20 now? But yes, that's the end of the story. It's safe to say that my feelings for Noah have 100% gone away. Ever since establishing he's engaged, and that he's a top and I'm a top as well. And like I said, I think that's just the universe's way of protecting me from an incompatible potential partner. Even if I was averse and he'd be a top, that relationship would not work. Especially if he wants a traditional marriage, and I just want to remain unmarried while still living together. And me seeing him in person about almost 3 months ago near Easter, that was the closure that I needed. And it also got me thinking, if Noah, my ex-coworker, is gonna be married, if he's gonna want to be married, then he's gonna have to deal with conflict. He's gonna have to deal with conflict the mature way instead of just avoiding the person that he's mad at. No, cause think about it. Could you imagine him doing that shit to his current fiance? assume his fiance wouldn't like that. And I just hope that he doesn't do to his fiance what he did to me in terms of avoiding and ghosting, doing the silent treatment and giving the cold shoulder. I mean, as much as I don't like Noah's fiance because of the gift card situation, I I still wouldn't want his fiance to deal with Noah's ghosting and avoiding. So I'm just saying, if Noah's gonna want to be married, then he's gonna have to shape up and be a man in terms of dealing with conflict, instead of being a man child and avoiding the person that they've done wrong. Otherwise, that relationship of his isn't gonna last. And like I said, I hope that him seeing me will remind him of that guilt that he might have had when avoiding me. As I do want him to feel remorse for what he did. I'll forgive him enough to let go of the hurt, but not enough to forget not enough to make him not can't even talk. I'll forgive him enough to let go of the conflict and the past hurt, so that way I can be at peace with myself, but not enough to forget about how he made me felt worthless during that conflict. I'll forgive him, but I won't forget the bullshit he's done to me. And I know that every time that Noah might see me when I'm doing my shopping, he's definitely gonna remember the conflict. And that's gonna make me feel as if I've finally got my self-worth back. And that I don't have to hide from him every time. Now, do I still want him and I to be friends? Y'all might call me crazy for saying this, but yeah, I'm still open to him and I being friends. But I do think there should be boundaries between a friendship between him and I and his future marriage. If he and I ever do become friends, I definitely would like for there to be boundaries, such as him keeping his relationship away from our friendship. What I mean is that I would just like for him not to talk about his fiance to me, and in return, I'll at least accept that that Noah doesn't feel that way towards me, and that he's already content with his fiance. And I wouldn't talk badly about his relationship just because I had feelings for Noah in the past. Wait, what? politics drama. Did I ever say I was gonna react to that? If I did, I really don't remember. I don't remember me planning on reacting to that. To be honest with you. But you know, there's that. Noah and I, we're not friends. But I would assume we're not enemies as well. Given that, even though he and I basically blocked each other. Oh, I didn't? Well, I was gonna say, what? Foreign politics drama? Sometimes I'll look at my old videos when I'm reacting to my old videos, and I'll be all, wait a minute, I don't remember saying this. Or, oh, this isn't something I don't think I would say. I think in a past live stream. Anyways, we won't talk about him anymore. I was watching the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, the very first one from 2004, and I just found out that Goofy Goober place in the movie is actually a real establishment, but it's in Frisco, Texas, at a place called Universal Kids Resort. And I'd be so down to eat at that place. And I saw that they were actually selling ice creams in the form of a cup that's shaped similar to I think it's called a triple gooberberry sundae or something like that. They costed $20, but mind you, the ice cream itself is not in the shape of the triple gooberberry sundae because an ice cream like that would be very hard to replicate. But there's some type of souvenir cup where they serve ice cream, where the souvenir cup is in the shape of a triple gooberberry sundae. But $20, I would understand because it's supposed to be a souvenir cup that looks just like in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. But I sure as hell wouldn't pay $20 for a single ice cream. That's for sure. I would only buy it just for the souvenir cup. Wait, but how would someone react to corn? OMG, I never thought he would be the bottom. Not his face, not his face. Aw, shucks. Sometimes looks can be deceiving about who's the bottom and who's the top in game men, which is true because on Instagram I do have a long distance friend. He's a bear and he's in his 50s, but you would never think he would be. You would assume he'd be a top, but no, he's actually a bottom. And as for me, on the other hand, I know I don't look like I could be a top. Just because I do dye my hair and I do wear colors, so it's easy for people to assume that because I'm short and thin, that I'm automatically a bottom. Wow. Wow. Right where I had to be. Okay, I thought I was gonna be trapped. Fuck. There should be a Super Weenie Hut Juniors for an actual restaurant, considering that the Goofy Goober ice cream place is already real in Frisco, Texas. Don't get me wrong, I would love to experience the Goofy Goober place, just like from the SpongeBob movie, the first one. But the only thing is that Frisco, Texas is a very conservative city. In other words, it is a Republican city. Come on, why does it have to be a Republican city? If it was a Democratic city, I would definitely be down to go. Daisy. Let's just say ever since that conflict that I had between my ex-coworker Noah and also my parents getting divorced since October 2024, ironically the same exact time that I had my conflict with Noah, let's just say I was going through some hard times, so I didn't really have the motivation to do long form YouTube videos. So they just been either streams or YouTube shorts. I don't know. Ever since Daisy, sorry, that was my dog. I have no idea what she's making those noises for. But yeah, it's just I just haven't been feeling the same ever since October 2024. That was just a really hard time for me. So that's why I haven't been as motivated to do long form YouTube videos. My baby. What's wrong, mama? Yeah, I did react to my old Geometry Dash videos. I liked that I was talking about some real deep shit in those videos, just like what I was doing earlier over the last almost 2 hours. But don't worry, the long form YouTube videos, they will come back. I mean, I can now that I've let go of Noah, feelings wise and overall wise. And as far as my parents divorcing, they did just talk for the very first time in about a year. And I won't lie, it was very bittersweet for me to see my parents talk after their divorce. So this lets me know that they're still civil with one another. So yeah, now that I'm out of both of those situations, I have no more excuses. Mama. Let me try this one again. But you know, those are just difficult times for me. But it's all behind me now. sometimes I do miss that that amount of energy I used to have in my older videos. I literally had so much energy back then. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older now. Also, there's something I've noticed. I noticed that that on YouTube, the content that gets the most attention is short form videos, but that's not why I do short form videos. I guess I was doing short form videos just because I had a cat. Yeah, I just recently became a cat dad at the time. And I did have so many ideas for cat shorts. And honestly, I do miss that era of YouTube when it was just nothing but long form videos and no shorts or AI. Basically 2015. I miss that era of YouTube. Now YouTube is slowly becoming TikTok. No offense to TikTok, but I don't know. All these social media platforms, they're all trying to be just like TikTok. You know, Instagram with the reposts. I was gonna say stories, but no. Snapchat did stories. YouTube has shorts, just like in the same form as TikTok shorts. I don't know. All these social media platforms, they're just trying to copy off of one another. One thing I hate about getting older is the pain. When you're a kid, you would get run over by a semi-truck and you'd be all, oh, I'm fine. But now I have to go to the clinic if I sleep a weird way. That is 100% true. You can jump off of a tree as a kid and you wouldn't even need to go to the hospital. But if you're an adult and you jump off of high places, Houston, we have a problem. Or even something minor as having a headache, and you feel like you have to go to the hospital just for one headache. And then ibuprofen becomes your best friend. is my cue to go. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your Sunday and your weekend, and thank you guys for stopping by and listening to all of my rants and my wise words of wisdom and my story of my ex, aka ex-coworker, not ex-boyfriend. Just a clarification, Noah and I, we never dated. He was never a boyfriend of mine, or vice versa. We were just ex-coworkers. And it was just for the sake of clickbait. I do want to start incorporating some streams on the weekdays, preferably Mondays and Tuesdays. And now that I've gotten myself out of these ruts between Noah and my parents' divorce, there should be no excuse for me not to put long-term videos like I did in the past. Honestly, I do miss that type of content. I just have to record. I do have some ideas for long-term videos. I just need to record them and edit them. Definitely do expect long-form videos of YouTube sometime in July. Wait a minute, hold up. I think I know a way for you to get more traction on YouTube and take it from the man who got 5 whole subscribers. No, buddy, you should add some hashtags like nostalgic games or nostalgia. Yeah, hashtags are definitely helpful. You too. Have a great day and be yourself.